And this would be an example that I would send out to the client. We have picked the interval number 2 for this purpose right here. Obviously, we could have picked any of the intervals. And if you know the overtone series, also known as the harmonic series, then you also know the intervals in there. We picked number 2 for a specific reason. Number 2 has a very strong character, and that is, it's a dominant character. It's not stable, it wants to move someplace. And there are various ways how you can use that energy and channel it to various musical places. I will show you right here the most obvious one. Everybody who has spent some time with the diatonic system knows this movement right here, and that's the authentic cadence. So that's a very basic movement. And you might be asking right now, well, Frank, okay, I've heard this thing a million times, right? Why is this good to know? The audience surely has some expectations when they start hearing that structure. And they want to also hear that guy. Let's make it a bit more exciting and interesting. And we can do this in various ways. The first thing that I want to do is I create a little sketch, a short sketch that only uses this guy and its resolution. And that is exactly what you can see in these 2 lines. Now those parts where it's labeled with PCs, that stands for position changes, and it's the same structure, but the lower guy now moved in an octave position upwards. Okay, so whenever you're seeing these things here, these other positions, it's actually the same structure, but it's in a different position. Now the first line, and you might have spotted this already, this becomes our pattern, our building block. And if you understand the first line, you also understood the second line, because it's a repetition, but shifted 2 up. So whatever is played right here, now it's all 2 chromatic steps upwards, and that becomes our pattern. So let's have a quick listen to these 2 lines. I would not send it out to a client yet. This is not impressive, I know, but wait for it. Whatever sounds good in one place can actually sound good if we do the same thing in 2 places. So you still are seeing the upper line. That's a complete copy-paste from above. And you could compare the notes actually. Now let's focus on the bass clef down there. And you will realize it's also a copy-paste from the line above, but now with a locked interval. And this locked interval happens between all of the bars and all of the parts. It's really the exact same copy-paste thing from above, but with this 5 interval in here. I want to show you the bottom line only. And this is exactly what we have listened to, but shifted down. So here it is. Still, it doesn't sound very impressive, I know, but we've picked this locked interval here for a reason. So there are various options how you can lock these 2 elements together. And we went with this 5 interval here because it just sounds beautiful. That's the reason. And I want to play you this example 1C once more, now with both, well actually 4 parts, because the upper line has 2 parts and then the lower line has 2 parts. So here it is, the whole example 1C, and now out of a sudden you will realize, no, actually that sounds very decent already. Almost a little bit ambiguous, I would say, but the character of it now has this specific quality that actually leads itself to musical storytelling. Let me show you this. There are two advantages why it is beneficial to use a locked interval. First, you're not changing the overall density or the overall dissonance because it really stays the same through every bar. And the second benefit is, if you are an efficient composer, I sometimes replace that with a lazy composer. This is a fantastic technique because guess how long it took me to copy these things and have this locked interval show up. So this was 12 seconds of my time to do this. And I want to show you how this can turn into an orchestral arrangement as well. We won't be looking at the score because this also would be a little bit too demanding for this session here. But still, let me replay you the sketch, but now with the orchestra. And that is the end result. Here we go. Now that actually sounds very impressive, and this would be an example that I would send out to the client. But guess what? It's all based on this skeleton. This here is the sketch. This guy up there, this was the gathering. And then we just used that to create the outline of a sketch and made it more sophisticated and interesting. And this is a possible result that you can get out of such a skeleton. All the intervals have a nature. In this case, it was a dominant nature. It wanted to resolve. There are various ways to resolve a two interval. This was the authentic cadence right now. We could have gone to the reflection. We could also have gone to a chromatic resolution, but this would be something for a dedicated session. I hope that you liked this video, and if so, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel because I will be sharing a ton of other things on this YouTube channel. So you might want to even check out this video right here.